Welcome to Money Hacks, a podcast series by the Straits Times and the Business Times, where we offer tips for the newcomer to the financial investment scene. Hi, I'm Chris Lim, and my co-host is Ernest Lewis. With us is the head of unsecured loans and cards for DBS Bank, Anthony Seow. Welcome to the show, Anthony.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Now, Anthony, we're aiming this episode at those who are interested in a few key travel spending hacks, ways to stretch their money further when traveling overseas. Coming back to the needs of the traveller, would you say there's a difference between the need of the casual traveller and the hardcore miles junkie?
Actually, one thing with cards, right? If you kind of know your way around and you take a bit of time, invest a bit of time to do research, you can actually get yourself pretty good deals, right? So a lot of card companies, what they have is they do tie up with Agoda, Expedia, etc. So it's good that if you're planning a travel, check your bank website to see what promos they have with who. You may want to go check it out. You can then get special discounts. For those who have miles, usually my advice is that miles are actually best for long-haul travel than short-haul flights. It's more worth it if you ask me. And from what I've seen, actually, a lot of Singaporean cardholders are very, very savvy, right? They will actually they will do research and they see, well, for short-haul flights, sometimes even to have the miles, they may not redeem it for it because they find that the difference, the benefit of using the miles may not be worth it, and they actually buy a commercial ticket that's on promotion. But typically, they are also quite savvy in the sense that redeeming miles for flights is actually more worth it when you redeem for long-haul flights. In particular, let's say, for example, business class return ticket to Europe or the US, right? It's a lot more worth it in terms of the value of the miles that you get versus, let's say, buying a commercial ticket for that. Now, one thing with miles also as a tip, especially for long haul, if you want to travel, it's important to actually plan in advance because the number of seats that they have is limited. Like in Singapore Airlines case, they have two tiers, right? So you have a saver and then you have the standard, right? The saver is actually a lot less miles needed to redeem for the same flight. Even though, yes, there's some restrictions, but those are usually the first to be snapped up. So it's good to plan ahead, book early.
So planning and research sounds like there's no getting around that. But research, not just research, your math must be good to count how many miles and how many rewards you get for each card and which time of the year. Does it take a lot of time? Is there a shortcut to speeding up, your savviness, getting up to speed?
Okay, so actually the shortcut, understanding rewards for cards, right, is very, very straightforward. Usually, all banks will offer two different rates of rewards. One for spending locally in Singapore and the other one for overseas spend. So usually overseas spend, you will tend to get higher reward points or miles compared to a local spend. So I think that's all you need to know.
Is there a different psyche between the casual traveller and the miles junkie? Do they think about travel in a different way?
Actually, I don't think so. Again, if you look at it, the miles junkie is basically this, right? They tend to spend a lot more on cards. So therefore, the miles might become more relevant for them, right? Because you do have to spend enough to earn enough points, air miles, to actually redeem for a ticket. So I would say that's really the key difference. Other than that, I don't really see much of a difference.
Coming back to the forex wallet, I find that an intriguing notion, but I don't really understand it. How exactly does it work? And if I wanted to start using it for an upcoming trip, how should I start using it?
Okay, so firstly, I think you need to have the account with DBS and to get a debit card. And let's say right now you want to go to the US, and let's say right now you're starting to monitor the US exchange rate, and let's say it's a level that you're comfortable with. What you do is just log into our iBanking. You can actually buy exchange US dollars, and you ultimately sit in that wallet. So when you travel, the debit card is actually quite smart in a sense. Once you are in US, and let's say, okay, maybe let's take an example. Let's say you change 3,000 US, right? And once you're in the US, the card, and you do a transaction, you will know that you're in US, you will ultimately take and debit your US dollar purse. Now, one thing you need to know is also this. Let's say right now with $3,000 in there, you're buying something that's 3,500. Now, because you don't have sufficient US dollars, you automatically convert going back to default and actually debit your Sing dollar wallet because you didn't have enough money in your US purse, right? That's basically the long and short of how it works.
It's very interesting. So, of course, it's not a real wallet, it's a virtual wallet. And, of course, it works by giving me a benefit when I have a balance of a particular currency in the country I'm traveling to. And, of course, if I don't, then
you go to the Sing, you debit your Sing account. Yes.
So, in your experience, how popular is this account among DBS customers?
Actually, I would say, it's getting very, very popular. Because you see, actually a lot of people take this up not because they're frequent travelers, but it's a lot of reasons, right? One is they shop on e-commerce quite often, so you can do that too. You automatically hit your US HERS, or people actually who invest in, say, the US or Europe and all that. So they want to have that currency, right? And by extension, it also applies to you when you travel, that benefit. So we are seeing that actually getting quite popular because of the consumers getting a lot more savvy.
And a higher take-up rate from the younger segment of the market, or?
I would say it's actually quite a good mix. I would say. Yes.
How are they finding out about this? How are you reaching these people? Are they finding out through all channels or the particular channel that people monitor?
Well, we of course we reach out to our customers based on data, in terms of what they do, they travel, and we'll target them, say, hey, maybe you want to consider this, right? So that's how we reach out. But right now also for us, what's happening is for people from here on, when they open an account, typically straight away you'll be a multi-currency account, and then they just need to get that multi-currency debit card that's linked to their account.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for Money Hacks. And do send us your feedback to podcast@sph.com.sg. There are also more podcasts on various topics at the Straits Times and the Business Times. Do note that any financial or investment information in this podcast is for use in Singapore only and is intended to be for your general information. Any particular investment or decision should only be made after consulting with a fully qualified financial advisor.